How are you, Daniel?
I'm good. How are you? I'm envious that you have the ear pods that I always lose. I've lost my second pair. I'm like, I'm not investing in another one. I'm done.
I'm like you. This is my second pair. So I made the mistake of watching a movie last night, and I couldn't sleep well.
Wow. Score.
So, so, so this is a great year for horror movies, and you asked something great also. Do you think that we keep telling stories about exorcism because we have like a different story every year? But now yours is from a different perspective, like it's from the past and something that you carry with you, like something genetic.
Yeah. I mean, I think the bitter truth is that we tell exorcism movies because they sell and people go to see them because it, I think, gets them differently, especially the audience that grew up with faith in their lives. It's decades of groundwork done that we as horror movie filmmakers can just kind of pick the fruit of. It's almost like the
Yes.
first act is already ingrained, you know? And that's why people, I think, go to them, and that's why studios keep making them. So then it's up to us filmmakers to say, we owe it to an audience to provide them with a fresh angle on this stuff. And that's a real challenge because exorcism is a pretty narrow genre in that you have to deliver certain set pieces that you owe the audience and that the audience bought a ticket to see. But on the other hand, they're also preparing to say, oh, this was just an Exorcist ripoff. You know, so how do you handle those two things? I made one exorcism movie before, and after that I watched a YouTube video of a 13-year-old who reviewed the movie, and it was the first horror movie that he ever saw in his life, and I will never forget that review because it was so genuine and there was no cynicism. There wasn't, oh, I'm trying to be intellectual and I'm so bored with this because I've seen The Exorcist, blah blah blah. He was connecting with moments in the movie that they weren't even made to connect with anyone that way. But I've always had that in my head that I'm basically trying to make a movie for two audiences. That audience, that I owe it to that person that is the full exorcism experience without any ironic distance, whatever, lean fully into it. But I also have to make a movie for an audience that has seen 20 horror movies and is waiting to
Yes.
say it's just an exorcism movie. So what are these new angles? What are these new redefinitions? And that was basically our mantra. Every department head had that over their desk. What is the different thing that we can find in the production design, in the costume design, in the language, in the whatever. And we try to reinterpret everything. For example, contortions, right? We need contortions. It's an exorcism movie. They are scary. But is it possible in our mythology to reinterpret what contortions mean? So we said there are two pilots fighting over the same steering wheel. It's the demon and it's the victim, and they're fighting over the same body, control over the same
Yes.
body. So ideally, I should be able to stop my actress at any moment in contortions and say, freeze. What is your right hand doing right now? Is it the demon? Is it the victim? Is it half and half? What's happening? So suddenly our contortions weren't there for contortion's sake, but they were an expression of a battle. They were basically, showing all that. And we tried to do that with basically everything. And obviously the one big key that allowed all that is that we have a female protagonist, because if she were, it's such a buzzword, the strong female protagonist, the feminist icon, all that stuff. And I feel like very few movies actually deliver on that. So whether we achieved that or not, you can tell me better, but our big goal was, we like the label. We think the label is important. How do we earn the label? How do we create a story where you don't just swap a male for a female, but it's so much part of the DNA that you wouldn't be able to tell it with anyone other than a female, because suddenly all these sources of conflict open up. With a male, it's just the priest against the demon, one source of conflict. With a female, she suddenly has to go up against the patriarchy, that is trying to keep her out. And she is suddenly becoming the most dangerous actor in the whole thing to the church, because the church is comfortable with demons and with devils. But with a female that says, hey, it's time for a change, I'm here to ring in a new age, that's terrifying to everybody. So suddenly you have a much richer, deeper story.
And something new, that you create like a squad of exorcism. There's a school of exorcism, and now there's a squad. And even with the ending, it feels like a superhero. Okay, I'm ready for you. Bring it on.
That is so
And
awesome. Yeah, It's
right?
so awesome
And
that you're picking up on that, because that was one of the things which I haven't thought about since we shot it. So it's great to hear that again. That we said one other reinterpretation is that for us, exorcism is a team sport. There are always teams. It's almost like the Star Wars thing. There's always the mentor and the Padawan or something. And they always go in together. And the techniques that they are studying, they rely on two exorcists. You know, and that's what we tried in like the at the midpoint, the exorcism, where she is basically telling her companion, her assistant, what to do, which is the reverse, right? The female telling the male priest. But it's always a team sport, because I had the feeling that in all these exorcism movies, we have to sit through so much Latin, so much blah, 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 that doesn't mean anything because no one speaks Latin. And even if we did, it would just be Bible verses that are not an expression of the priest's character themselves, because they're not making that stuff up. So we said, well, how can we have that on the one hand in the movie, but only have it tapestry, only have it background noise, you know? And that's where the team thing came from. Yes, if you have 3 exorcists in a room, one of them can do the Latin mumbling in the background, but that can't be the main focus of the scene, because we've seen that a million times. There needs to be someone else who is trying to figure things out. And that's kind of where that came from.
thank you for your time, Daniel. Even in the name, Pray for the Devil, it's like, okay, I'm ready for you. And thank you for your time.
Thank you
Great
so much,
job.
Ruben.
And I'm looking forward to watching the theaters.
Oh, thank you. It means a lot. Thanks,
Have a
Ruben.
beautiful day. Bye.
Thanks, you too.
Hi, my name is Ruben Peralta from Cocaleca.net. How are you guys?
Doing
What's up,
well, Ruben. How are
Ruben?
you doing?
Doing fantastic.
Good.
I really like the movie. I'm a huge chicken when it comes with exorcism movies. And but if like every year we have a lot of movies about exorcism, what do you guys think this movie like offer different than the other movies that we see every year?
This movie focuses on why exorcism's happening rather than what is happening to the individual. Like right from the beginning, you know an exorcism is going to take place. You know it's a demonic possession. Where other movies, you go through this whole period where it's like, is it a demon? Is it something else? You know right off the top that it's a demon attacking this little girl. From that point on, I just think the why is scarier, truly.
How about you, Christian?
I think beyond the obvious, which is it's the first telling of a woman exorcist in the Catholic Church, and as we mentioned in the film, 7 centuries. I think that's very important, and I think that's what sets it apart. But also, this is a movie that's rooted in relationships, so it's a scary topic. It's dealing with the supernatural, but it all stems from human relationships, and I think that we continue to touch on that throughout the film, and that's what grounds the film, right? So I think that.
Because something really interesting is the past that Sister Anne has. And to me, the demon is also like a metaphor for any mental health that her mom had.
Yes.
And what do you guys think about the division of suffering from a mental health and the metaphor that we could see in the movie? Like the demon could be this depression that her mom had, and she had to struggle with her mom and also with the demonic possession that is chasing her.
I think that idea attracted me to the film almost off the bat, because you know we're all capable of having that one thought and then that thought spiraling into something deeper, and that the idea that a demon comes in through that way, because that is what it feels like. You feel like you have no control over your brain at that point, and it's like learning. One, I think the power to forgive is powerful, but the power to forgive yourself is even greater and harder. And shame and guilt plays such a strong role, specifically in the Catholic and Christian religion, or religion in general. It's just a great avenue to choose exorcism in the church to explore those ideas.
Well, also at the moment that Sister Anne doesn't follow the rules, someone has to pay someone has to pay what happened. And do you think that has also like really attached to any belief that you have with Christianity?
I'm sorry, can you ask that again?
There's a moment that Sister Anne assists in an exorcism.
Yeah.
And like she don't follow the rules that the priest had.
Yes.
Something happened. I don't want to say it. Something happened. Something goes wrong. But do you think that we don't, like it's saying that if we don't follow what the Bible say, we could do something wrong. And
Yeah.
do you think that's probably the way that Daniel wanted to say something?
Yeah, well, I don't think, the only way out is through. And I think that mistakes are going to be made, I think that's the hardest thing, to try to push boundaries, to try things out when there's such a grave risk at the other end. People die in this movie. There is the safe route, but if you're going to try something new, it could potentially go wrong. That could be the same with treatments for cancer. There has to be a lot of background information. She hasn't gone through it's definitely not safe, her approach to exorcisms, and it comes at a huge cost.
Jackie, Christian, thank you for your time. I really enjoyed the movie. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Mucho
you.
gusto.
Un placer. Bye-bye.
Gracias.
I know it's unusual in this day and age to devote your life to something spiritual.
Hey, good morning, Ann.
But ever since my mother's issues, I've always felt a calling to help people.
Natalie's parents believe that she is being possessed by some sort of evil entity.
She's not as scary as she looks.
She can hear you.
You're my favorite person here.
Us girls, we gotta stick together in this place.
We have a female student in the class, only as an observer. Because as you know, women are strictly forbidden from performing exorcism.
Female surgeons were once unthinkable. Somebody had to be the first.
When you enter the room of the possessed, you are walking onto a battlefield.
Strike terror, Lord, into the beast, now defiling this innocent child.
I can't hear you.
No!
Natalie, I'm here. I'm here with you.
This little light of mine.
You have a gift.
I'd like to teach her. This relationship, it's personal.
We all have a personal relationship with God.
Not with God.
This feeling has followed me my entire life.
You got my invitation.
We've been waiting for you.